Welcome back to Understanding Human Anatomy and our discussion of the retroperitoneal organs. In the last video we left off with this diagram, and we need to add in some autonomic ganglia. These are ganglia of the sympathetic nervous system that are collectively known as the prevertebral ganglia because they sit anterior to the vertebral column, and in fact they're on the anterior surface of the abdominal aorta, and we find them adjacent to the unpaired branches of the abdominal aorta. So we'll start by sketching in one of these ganglia right here. And this is the celiac ganglion. And we're going to find that these ganglia are named for the unpaired branch of the abdominal aorta they're associated with. And then on a little bit inferior, we have a ganglion associated with the superior mesenteric artery, and finally one down here associated with the inferior mesenteric artery. So let me put the labels in on these ganglia. And the superior mesenteric ganglion. The line to that one. And then the inferior mesenteric ganglion. And the line to that ganglion here. So these are all part of the sympathetic nervous system. So they are providing sympathetic innervation to the structures supplied by these three arteries. They distribute with the artery. Their postganglionic fibers form a plexus on these arteries and run out with the artery to the structures supplied by the artery. Next, I'm going to sketch in the kidneys, and note that the hilus of the left kidney is in the transpyloric plane. And let me color in the left kidney here. And then the right kidney will have a hilus that sits a little bit inferior to the transpyloric plane. Here. And again, I'll color this kidney in. Like so. And let me extend the renal artery and the renal vein on the left side over to the kidney. The hilus of the kidney is where the arteries and veins enter the kidney. Now, each kidney will have a pelvis and we'll draw the pelvis in like so. And the pelvis narrows down into a ureter, which descends down and opens into the urinary bladder. So there's the renal pelvis and ureter on the left side. And let me draw it in on the right side here. So let me put some labels in here. Kidney. And likewise over here. have the kidney, and then we'll have the pelvis, there, and there, and I'll label one of the ureters. I'll label the ureter on the left side. And we'll draw a line to it so we see what's there. So, the two kidneys, the left one sitting slightly higher with the hilus of the left kidney in the transpyloric plane, the right kidney slightly inferior. And we have the renal pelvis and the ureter on each side, the ureters connecting to the urinary bladder. Next, we need to look at organs that have a relationship with the kidneys. And the first one I want to draw in is the adrenal gland. I'm going to draw in the left adrenal right here. And it's a superior relationship to the kidney. It sits right on the superior pole of the kidney. And the suprarenal artery and suprarenal veins go to the adrenal gland. On the other side, let me sketch it in right here. And we already have the artery and vein heading to the kidney, so I don't have to touch that up. And this then is the adrenal. And the adrenal gland is one of our endocrine glands, and it actually has two parts, a cortex and a medulla. The adrenal cortex produces steroid hormones, and it produces steroid hormones that regulate electrolytes in the body, the mineralocorticoids. It produces steroids that regulate or help regulate glucose levels in the blood, the glucocorticoids. And the glucocorticoids, the principal one being cortisol, also are very potent anti-inflammatory hormones. And the adrenal cortex also produces some androgens, male sex steroids, and these are important in the secondary sex characteristics, especially development of body hair. The adrenal medulla produces primarily epinephrine with a little bit of norepinephrine, and epinephrine is also known as adrenaline because it was discovered in the adrenal medulla. The posterior relationships of both kidneys include the diaphragm, quadratus lumborum, and psoas is more of a medial relationship, but it does have a relationship to the kidney. Inferior relationships to the kidney are the small intestines, and we're not going to sketch that in because it would just cover up the entire diagram. And medial relationships are the aorta, the inferior vena cava on the right side, and the celiac and superior mesenteric ganglia. In the next video, we'll take a look at the internal structure of the kidney. Thank you for your attention.